Well, visiting a property before you buy it is an absolute must. It is the only way of really knowing what you're getting.
Yeah, it's advisable to get a survey done because you never know what that old plaster can be hiding.
So, what properties have we got for you today?
In Derby, double doors make me definitely undecided.
2 ways in? Take your pick, really.
In Dartford, Kent, this lean-to is certainly a room without a view.
Get rid of all this. I mean, look, that is just a pane of glass on the next-door neighbour's brick wall.
And it's a case of, if it ain't broke, don't fix it in County Durham.
Which all leads to the conclusion that there really isn't a lot to do to this place. 152.
All these properties have been sold at auction. We'll find out who bought them and what they paid for them when they went under the hammer.
Well done, Sil.
No, we're not here for a Derby, but we are here to look at a property in Derby. This East Midlands city beautifully combines the old with the new and is host to a bustling market or two. I wonder if today's lot will offer a bargain.
Well, I've come just a couple of miles outside Derby to this popular residential estate and a house that went up for auction guided at £68,000 plus. 3-bedroomed semi-detached. Now, it does benefit from this corner plot, so you've got this quite extraordinary garden. The house itself, well, 2 ways in. Take your pick, really. Bit confusing, that, but anyway, once you are inside, this little entrance vestibule, if that's what you want to call it, into the kitchen. Now, it's an interesting shape. I mean, very strange to have that kind of odd angle thing going on there. It doesn't look to be in too bad condition. I'm being a bit generous there, I think. Replace that if you possibly could. An understairs cupboard, and then through to what should be the main entrance to the property, which is currently not. Out through this door, you've got your entrance porch, your proper one. But clearly this isn't used as the main entrance to the property anymore, not quite sure why. You might want to think about reinstating that, because that would be the natural place to have it. Stairs up to your bedrooms there, and then through into a really nice sized lounge. I mean, at some stage my guess is this has been knocked through, but it creates this wonderful space. So that side not so good, this side big tick.
But I don't just tick the box for anything, and it's certainly a big red cross for the conservatory. It's not really doing anything for me or for the property for that matter. I think this lean-to should get the big heave-ho.
So, what's on offer up the stairs? Well, that's quite nice. A bit of a landing area here, which gives a bit of an open feel to the whole place. Bathroom and loo there, that needs a bit of work for sure. But then you've got your 3 bedrooms, smaller one to the front, good sized double on that side, and then a reasonable sized double here. Oh, that's not so brilliant. It was all looking so good, and then you come up here to this rear bedroom, and there's obviously been a bit of water ingress there. My guess would be you wouldn't have to poke around too much with the guttering or the roof at that point to discover a bit of a small leak in the felt or something like that. That's led to that. I don't think it's too major, as long as it hasn't gone down into the joists or whatever. I mean, all in all, this is not a major job. That's good.
Whilst I don't really think it's good that they've swapped the main door, this one I entered through attaches the property to a brick storage room and leads to a covered walkway to the back garden.
Well, the inside's quite neat and tidy. Step outside into the rear of the property, and it is, whoa, a bit of a surprise. You've got quite a few outbuildings, some sheds, a few greenhouses. I mean, just, yeah, if you like your sheds, this is perfect. And then you've got this conservatory area here and then this quite extraordinary garden. Now, this was obviously someone's pride and joy. And in such a small garden as this, it's incredible. Whether it's to everyone's taste is another matter, but you know what? I guess it's down to whoever bought it.
low maintenance this isn't, but I love it. However, while keen gardeners may welcome the chance to exercise their green fingers, it might be that if it was for a young family, it might be wise to fill in that little pond for safety. I do think that some of the outbuildings might have to join the same skip as the lean-to. That would allow space to play or sit in the sun. The back has certainly got more privacy than the front garden. The house had a guide price of £68,000 plus. We invited the auctioneer who sold it round and asked how this compared with other local properties.
It's a typical ex-local authority house, 3-bedroom semi-detached. Interestingly, there are several build types on the estate. Some are prefabricated, some are brick. This one is brick, so it sort of comes to the top of the tree, really. Solid, well constructed, immediately post-war, and it's probably just wants a bit of a refit, but it's fine.
Once renovated, the experts think the house could sell for between £100,000 and £110,000. But what could it earn on the rental market?
From a rental point of view, once renovated, upgraded, this would have a rental value in the region of £525 a calendar month.
Well, for someone who loves their gardens and gardening, this property is an absolute delight. You know, once you go inside too, I think it's a good one to go for. Let's see who agreed when it went under the hammer.
A 3-bedroom, semi-detached house requires some upgrading and improvement, but a lot of potential to it. Start me where you will on this one. Who's got 65,000 to move it on? 65? 65 I have, thank you. That's 65,000 and well worth it. 66 I've got, 67, 68, 69, 70,000, 71, 72. Don't stop yet, you've not bought it. £71,000, 72, 72, 73, 73, it's worth another shot. 74, 75, 76, 77, 77 is the bid, 78. No, 77,500 tempt you. But £77,000 once, 77,000 twice, third and last opportunity, all done. Sold at 77, it's yours, so thank you.
That very calm and collected bidder who picked up this property for £77,000 is Steve. He and his young family have just returned from living abroad. I met him back at his new pad to find out more.
Steve, good to meet you.
Good to meet you.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Interesting little property.
Yeah, it certainly is. Yeah, it's going to be a fair bit of work, mainly outside. But yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it, yeah.
So tell me why you wanted to buy it.
This is a bit of a new career for me, hopefully. I've been living in Prague for the past year with my wife, and we've just given, well, she's just given birth about 9 months ago. We've got a new son.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, thanks, yeah. And so basically moving back over to England and looking for a way to make some money, and this is it.
Great. What was Prague like for that time?
Yeah, lovely, yeah. I mean, my wife's Czech, so that was one of the reasons that we moved out there. And she wanted to give birth over there to be close to her family and her friends, and so it all worked out quite well. I learned a bit of the language and got to know the place a bit better, so no, it was good.
Wow. What prompted the move back at this point then?
Well, it was only really ever intended to be temporary. I'd had a business that I'd sold prior to leaving to Prague. And as I say, part of the move was to have the baby over there, and the other part was to recover from the stress of the business that I'd sold. And then, yeah, we'd always planned to come back. And so, yeah, this is it.
Right. So do you have somewhere to live at the moment?
Yeah, well, living with parents at the moment. We're in the process of buying a family home to live in. And so, yeah, hopefully I'm looking to maybe get this finished before we move on to that place, because actually that's in a worse state than this place.
Right.
Taking on 2 properties at once, brave man. Steve's previous business was in the betting industry, but hopefully this place won't be too much of a gamble. He's never taken on a full refurbishment before, although he has done bits of DIY and has someone on hand to help here.
My mum, who's 64 now, but she's excellent with tiling. She's done about 5 different bathrooms, all to a pretty good standard.
Wow.
And she's just retired, so she's going to be very keen, I think, to come down and help me out. So I think I won't be able to keep her away, but there we go.
Oh, it doesn't sounds like you want to encourage her in.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, she's, you know, as I say, she's 64 now, so I sort of don't want her to get involved too much, but hopefully I can sort of learn some of the tiling skills and the bathrooms and so on, so it's good to have, yeah.
So tell me what you're going to do exactly to sort it out.
Yeah, well, initially I'm certainly going to sort of start outside in, because there's a huge amount of rockery, and I mean there must be half a dozen outbuildings, so I'm just going to clear the whole area completely. I've got a skip coming tomorrow afternoon. Get cracking straight away on that, just basically clear the whole thing out and see where we are.
The pond, that's all going, all the little
Yeah, the pond's
features,
going. I've got to find a new home for the fish. I'm not quite sure where they're going to go. The lady next door has got her own pond, so I'm hoping that she might be able to rehouse them for me.
And the conservatory, well, stroke greenhousey thing on the outside.
Yeah, that's going to have to go, I think, because it takes up half that back garden and it's a bit ancient. So, no, we'll take that down along with everything else.
I bet. How many skips have you got coming?
Well, I've got one large one coming. I don't imagine that it's going to be the only one. We'll fill it up and we can see where we go from there, really.
It seems a shame that all the features in this garden are going. But with Steve's aim to sell the house on, ideally as soon as possible, low maintenance is really the name of the game when it comes to gardens. Once the outside's sorted, he can turn his attention to the less labour-intensive inside. However, he is planning a new kitchen and bathroom, plus redecoration throughout, as well as new electrics and central heating. So, not a short list. And his maximum budget is $15,000. The plan is then to sell the property on. But how long it will take is still not definite.
So what's the timescale for getting it sorted?
Well, I was sort of originally hoping between 2 to 3 months, but as I say, we're in the process of buying a family home, and that may have to take precedence over this depending on when all of that goes through. So it could be that it ends up being a bit longer, maybe even up to 6 months. But hopefully I'll be able to get cracking on it straight away and, you know, maybe finish off this and then move on to the family home and start doing some bits and bobs with that.
Great. Well, listen, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Good luck with it.
Cheers, yeah.
And enjoy being a dad. And
Yeah.
Look forward to seeing how you get on.
Great, thanks.
So, dramatic changes in store for the house, but even bigger changes for out here in the garden. It's going to be very different when we come back. But the big question is, will Steve find somewhere to rehouse the fish? You can find out later in the show.
Dartford in Kent is all about connections. Road links to London and the South East, and around 40 minutes by train to Charing Cross. But this particular station has a different claim to fame, because it was right here a teenage Mick Jagger bumped into a certain Keith Richards, and the rest is history. And while we all know when it comes to property, you can't always get what you want, fingers crossed the house today is hot stuff.
Hot stuff. The property I'm here to see is very close to those fabulous Dartford road links and just off a busy roundabout. An issue for some, not for others. And the house itself, well, it's a semi-detached 3-bedroom home which had a guide price of $110,000 to $120,000.
The house has off-street parking, which is essential. From the outside, it looks like a classic 1940s semi in need of some TLC.
Well, a really pleasant space to walk into because all the rooms go off this hallway and it feels really homely straight away. You've got a little room tucked away here, probably call that an office. You've got some storage space, a sitting room to the front of the property, which is a decent size. Second reception room, you could use that as a dining room. What's around here? A little loo tucked around here in the kitchen. Well, it's obviously dated like the rest of the house, very 70s indeed, but I do like this L shape, and you can imagine once this has been transformed into something clean and crisp, it will look fantastic. You've got great views of the garden out there, and through these rather weird sliding doors into a lean-to conservatory. Now, it's not a solid structure. This is obviously an outside wall. I think I'd be inclined to put something permanent here. You could then have the kitchen, take all this out, coming through to a nice breakfast room, get rid of all this. I mean, look, that is just a pane of glass in the next door neighbour's brick wall. But I'm not sure what I would do in that area. Would I like to incorporate that as part of the kitchen space or maybe brick it up? I think it depends what sort of family you are and how you like to live and how big you like your open spaces. But some nice big French doors there leading out to the garden, and you could have a really nice family home here.
Just imagine bifold doors opening out to this lovely garden on a warm summer's day, with the kids playing hide and seek around this hidden garden on the side.
There's a secret garden she has.
But while the garden and the ground floor rooms are generously sized, upstairs is not. There are just 2 bedrooms, one at the front and one at the back, with a far from blooming bathroom in the middle. It's all rather disappointing.
So you've got 2 bedrooms and a bathroom. That little box room downstairs must be the 3rd bedroom then. And I would like to see a 3rd bedroom upstairs. Now, is that a possibility? Well, yes, I think it is, because this bathroom here is just an extension on the roof. And I've had a look outside, and you could actually extend either side of this to make one big, long extension. You may not need to do that, but the good news is the opportunity's there if you want it.
Yes, that little ground floor room I thought was an office. I think it's a bit optimistic to describe it as a bedroom. I'm not sure how you'd get a double bed in there. Extend upstairs, however, as the neighbours have, and then you could have 3 proper bedrooms. But it's only worth it if you're planning on living here, or if the numbers stack up. Apart from the lack of space upstairs, there are also some damp issues to contend with. But in general, for that £110,000 to £120,000 guide price, it's a solid-looking house. Time to ask a local property expert what she thinks of it.
My first impressions is a lot larger inside than it looks from the outside. It does look very tired inside, and there is a considerable amount of work that needs to be done to it, but I think it will be worth doing.
But would the place benefit by extending out of the bathroom to create that new 3rd bedroom?
I think it will be worth adding an extra bedroom upstairs because the ground floor bedroom is rather small. And the bathroom is actually quite a big size as well, so it may be a case of reducing the size of the bathroom to incorporate a bigger bedroom.
How would the figures stack up if the house had a straightforward renovation?
I think the resale value would be in the region of 220,000 to 230,000. If you added another bedroom upstairs, I think you could increase the value by about £15,000.
If whoever bought this got it near the guide price of £110,000 to £120,000, then even with renovation costs, it seems a promising investment. If an investor bought this as a buy-to-let, what kind of rental returns might they expect?
The rental value for this property I would put at £800 to £850 per calendar month. If you added in an extra bedroom, I'd feel that you could probably ask for another £50 per month.
This is a straightforward, easy-peasy property in a good area with scope for an extension if somebody fancies. I wonder who that was at the auction.
Lot 12 we go to now. We can start me where you will on that one. Can we see 120? Start at the top of the guide price. 120. 110 then. 110. Start me where you will. 110, 112, 115 and 18. 118, 120 and 2. 122, 124, 126, 128 and 30 and 2. 32, 32, 34, 36, 38. 38 and 40.
There were several keen bidders trying to purchase this lot. We rejoined the auction when the bidding reached 160,000.
160 and 2. 162, 162, 164, 166, 170 can I say? 170, 170 I'm bid. 175 now, 175. 180 I've got, 180, he wants it, 180 and 185, 185, 190, 190, yes? 190 and 5, 195, 2 I'll take, 192, 195, 195, 197. And it's against you ladies, it's in the front row at 195. The first time at 195 then, second time at 195, third and final time at £195,000 in the front row, we all done. Well done sir, 195.
Those successful bidders were Terry and Dolores, who are there with their son Ian and granddaughter Kelsey. Terry and Dolores are in the property development game, but they're not exactly based locally. In fact, I'm here to discover why they've exchanged sunny Spain, where they do live, for a rather dreary day in Dartford.
Terry and Dolores, congratulations. What I want to know is, why did you want to buy this house?
Our granddaughter lives 3 minutes walk from this very house, and her school is 5 minutes walk. We don't see much of her as we live in Spain, but so we thought we'd buy a house closer to our granddaughter, and the rest of the family are in the area. And what is going to happen now is that our sons will look after the house, and when we come back from Spain, not very often I might add, but we will stay here and she can come and see us.
How is it working out for you two, living partly in Spain, partly here?
It works out fantastic. Because we can, for years that we've lived in Spain, we can still run our business from over there. It's wonderful. We have our 2 sons here if we have any hiccups or problems, and they do the troubleshooting. So, but we run it all from Spain, and we are retired, but we're still keeping busy, buying the odd property here and there, both overseas and in the UK.
So am I right in saying you're retired property developers?
We didn't go to Spain to develop. We went to Spain to live and retire. But what actually happened was the first villa it started off as a 3-bed, but now I've turned it into 6 doubles, 5 bathrooms, 2 kitchens, garage, terraces, and that was our first house.
And swimming pool?
And a swimming pool. Sorry, I forgot that.
Terry didn't need his arm twisted to start developing again. Once a developer, always a developer. He clearly has the bug. So what are his plans for this place?
We've discussed it, but we only arrived yesterday afternoon, and we only come into the house yesterday afternoon for the first time. But our son, our eldest son, viewed the property on our behalf and said, Dad, it's got a bit of damp and this, that and the other, but we can do it. So that was that. How am I going to change it? Obviously, new kitchen, new bathroom. I want to put a shower room downstairs, conservatory, gone, brick up, flat roof, new patio doors, new windows, rewire, total refurb, total. I might keep the carpets.
Oh, stop it! Do-do. I like your style.
Aha, well, I hope he is joking. The pair have around $25,000 for the work and have given themselves 3 months to get it done. That should be ample with Terry's contacts in the trades. And that small downstairs room is going to be a bedroom for their granddaughter. But I'd like to know if they've considered extending upstairs.
I've thought about it, but I think the money it's going to cost won't put any value on the house. That's my opinion. And I think the house is big enough anyway.
It's perfect for what you guys need it for.
Yeah.
My next question, how are you going to sort of work this area here? Because you're going to sort of have a nice kitchen space there. Are you going to put a wall here?
No.
Are you going to keep it open plan?
I'm going to put an RSJ between the kitchen and, shall we say, the conservatory. Knock the wall down each side. This is coming out, an archway in here, so it will be kitchen, conservatory, dining room.
So lots of flow, a really nice big open space looking out onto your garden, and then a nice cosy sitting room to the front of the property.
With natural light coming in as much as possible, so that it's nice and bright. And when it's all finished, hopefully it'll all be good light colours that will reflect everything and the natural light.
So now, does this excite you two? Is this really what you want to be doing at the moment?
Yes.
Or do you think you might be put off and want to stay in Spain and get your son to sort of crack on and do most of the work?
No, I want to be here and oversee it. No, this is what I enjoy doing. This is what we retired from, but we now have a portfolio in Spain. You know, I'm like you, I can't stop.
I know.
wish I had your job.
It's the bug. I have got the best job. So, Dolores, it's obvious Terry's passion is property. What's yours?
My passion is also property, but I do love my sport. In particular golf. I do enjoy my golf very much. So when Terry's doing the property, usually I'm out on the golf course.
In Spain or in England?
Both.
Ah, really? How long have you been playing golf?
Since 1981.
Is she good?
She's good. She was lady captain of Sid Cup, and I always say it's luck, but she's had 3 holes in 1.
Wow. Look, congratulations.
Thank you
Can't
very
wait to
much.
see what you do in the 3 months, Terry.
Thank you very much. It's our pleasure.
We'll be back to check up.
Thank you very much, Lucy.
So price-wise, I'm not quite sure this place is a hole-in-one, but it is a fabulous part-time home for Terry and Dolores, and I can't wait to see how it's transformed. Join us later in the show to see for yourselves.
Coming up in County Durham, I find myself weighing up the options for this semi-detached property.
Back in Dartford, Kent, how have Terry and Dolores approached their house renovation?
Thrown a lot of money at it and a lot of labour.
Yes.
But first, in Derby, Steve has some useful advice.
Don't try and take on too much in one go, really. So.
We're back in Derby now to catch up with Steve. He purchased this 3-bed semi on a corner plot at auction for $77,000. Whilst the inside looked like it needed a fairly standard renovation, outside was a different story. This was a house with 2 front doors, too many outbuildings to count, and a very ornate garden at the back. And if these challenges weren't enough, Steve had some more in store.
Well, living with parents at the moment, we're in the process of buying a family home to live in. And so, yeah, hopefully I'm looking to maybe get this finished before we move on to that place, because actually that's in a worse state than this place.
Right.
That's right, 2 house renovations at once. With his family home and his new career in property and a maximum timescale of just 6 months, the stakes were high. Well, 1 year later, we're back. The outside couldn't look more different. The greenery has gone and been replaced by hard landscaping. It gives a much more direct route to the 1 front door instead of 2. Very sensible. While I'm intrigued to see the inside, it was always the outside of this house that presented the biggest challenge. So let's have a peek over the fence first. Crikey. Well, it's certainly a whole lot less cluttered, and there's no doubting it's low maintenance. It's certainly practical, but less attractive.
Where I'm standing now was probably inside one of the outbuildings. This entire area was really covered with sheds and greenhouses and various other things. So this entire area was cleared. Towards this side, it all sloped away down to the road, and so that's where I've built the wall around the outside, levelled it all off, put some turf down and sort of created quite a nice family garden, hopefully.
Well, I'll say he's certainly worked hard out here, so let's see how the inside's shaping up. Some great changes. Blocking up the second entrance allowed Steve to make the whole downstairs a bright light, open-plan living room, dining area and kitchen. Whilst doing this project, he learnt to plaster and put those skills to use throughout. Also on hand, and a dab hand at tiling, was Steve's mum, Margaret. She'd encouraged him from day 1 of this project.
Well, I went to the auction with Steve. We've both got a bit of a passion for auctions and property and things like that. So I went along, got sucked in, and then I felt obliged to help him out a little bit. And because I'm always roped in to do tiling, I tiled the bathroom and the kitchen and everything.
His mother's been working her magic. She's done a tremendous job, and so has Steve. It has taken a year, but he's had to contend with renovating his family home, a bout of illness, and the great British weather, which of course impacted on all that outside work.
The unknown was really the landscaping project. It was just far too much to take on for me on my own. I mean, I didn't even have a labourer to help me out when I was doing it, and just a hell of a lot of hard work, really. So that was, you know, if I was sort of advising anybody, I would sort of say that, you know, certainly for a first project, stick to what you're capable of, and don't try and take on too much in one go, really.
I take my hat off to him. He's had a tricky time on this renovation, but he's still smiling. He hopes to take the lessons he's learned on to his next project and forge ahead with a new career as a property developer. So will his mum be on hand to help next time?
Well, I don't know. I kept saying no because I just retired at the beginning of last year and this has been more like a kind of a hobby for me. The last time I put the last tile on the kitchen, I said, this is the last tiling I'm ever going to do. Absolutely fed up with tiling. So I'm saying no, but who knows? Never say never.
Famous last words, Margaret. Steve planned to spend £10,000 on the work, but that's been pushed to £18,000. The additional outlay mostly went on the garden, but something did come out of the garden too.
There were some scrap metal merchants that came by, and one of them actually took the fish out of the pond and said it was for his dad's new pond, so they've gone to a good new home anyway.
Well, before I give in to temptation to make any fishy gags, let's find out what two local property experts make of this place. Sorry. First up, the auctioneer who sold it.
I think the change has been fairly dramatic and very pleasing, really. I think they put quite a lot of imagination into it. I think they've done the right things. I mean, even changing the position of the footpath up to the front door, logical, but would you actually have thought about doing it in the big scheme of things? Well, they have, so hats off to them.
First thoughts are that it's a very appealing house from the outside, and as you get inside, it doesn't fail to live up to its expectations.
Talking of expectations, Steve bought this to renovate and sell on. He's overspent, mainly because of the landscaping work, so his outlay is now £18,000. Add that to his purchase price and he's invested a total of £95,000. So do the experts think he will make any profit?
If this house went on the market by private treaty, I think a sensible asking price would be about £120,000.
I would market the property at a maximum of £125,000.
Yeah, no, that sounds about right. It's sort of slightly more than we'd originally hoped for, but with putting the extra work into the landscaping, the extra money that we've spent there, at least nice to know that we've got that money back at least, and it's on the market for 125. So hopefully we can achieve something close to that sort of figure.
If Steve does achieve £125,000, that would make his pre-tax profit a very well-earned £30,000 minus the usual tax and expenses. So after all that hard work outdoors, is he glad to get back indoors?
Unfortunately, I've got my own garden is just ready for seeding at the moment, so that's going to be something that I'm going to go from one to the other, unfortunately. But yeah, no, it's nice to work outside. I mean, that was one of the attractions of it. It's nice to be outside, especially when the weather's nice, but not so nice when it's covered in snow and -2. So that's probably more to the point, I think.
Today I'm in County Durham and this is the village of Shotton Colliery.
Working in a coal mine, going down, down, down. Working in a coal mine, whoop, about to slip down.
Well, the village really came into its own in the 1840s when a coal mine was sunk locally. Well, the mine's long gone, but the village remains. The property I'm here to see, it's this. 3-bedroom semi-detached. Had a guide price at £39,950. Looks pretty solid from the outside. Let's take a look inside.
Now, for your information, I am not leading you up the neighbour's garden path.
Tell me to walk this way, out this way, just give me the key.
It appears that access is shared between the two properties. I'd get my solicitor to double-check the ins and outs.
I like this.
But the front garden looks pleasant enough. So far, so good.
Just notice it looks like it's got a relatively recent electrical consumer unit, which is good news. So hopefully no rear wire required. And in terms of the layout, well, pretty much what you might expect. Through the door, little entrance area there, stairs up to your bedrooms and then into this, your main living room. It's a nice size, a gas-ish fire, or gas-ish, I mean gas effect and coal, you know what I mean. Yes, probably replace that, it's a little bit dated. Then through this equally dated archway, into the kitchen. Again, it's got a nice feel to it, a sort of open plan feel with that archway through to the lounge there. Then a few negative points. This is the bathroom. It's the only bathroom in the property, and then over there is actually the loo. So you've got bathroom and loo off the kitchen. That's an unusual layout, and it's certainly not ideal. It may be that it's sort of expected around here, but obviously, in an ideal world, you'd want to move it upstairs. Let's see if we can do that.
I'll lead you upstairs, leading you up now.
Well, the good news is there is a room which you could potentially put a bathroom and loo in, but then the bad news is you would lose a bedroom, and given that the toilet and the bathroom downstairs are actually not in bad nick, and the fact that the rent as a result of losing that bedroom would be lower, I guess it comes down to the whole thing of what are you buying this house for? If you're renting it out, does it really matter? If you're going to live here, does it bother you? If it does, move it. If it doesn't, just leave it pretty much as it is, which all leads to the conclusion that there really isn't a lot to do to this place.
I love you just the way you are.
I don't like the bathroom downstairs, but if this was to be a buy-to-let, then moving it upstairs might not make any sense financially. It has central heating, double glazing, 3 bedrooms and a reasonably sized garden, so it's pretty much good to go for rental. But what does a local property expert make of this place and its guide price of £39,950?
First impressions of the property are quite good, actually. It's in quite good order, especially if it's to be placed on the rental market. Kitchen's nice, bathroom's okay. I would say, if anything, it's a little bit dated, but other than that, for rental purposes, it would be quite good.
What could this property earn if it were put up for rental?
The rental market is quite strong overall because the mortgage market's still quite fraught at the moment. If you were to place it on the rental market, I would probably expect to achieve around about £475 per calendar month.
What about the resale market?
With some minor improvements, neutralise it slightly, I would expect to achieve around about £60,000.
Well, there you go. It just goes to show it's not just the doer-uppers that come to the auctions. Nothing wrong with this place at all. Let's see who fancied it when it went under the hammer.
Lot number 92, a well-maintained 3-bed semi-detached property. It comes with gas central heating, it's got the double glazing, it's got the refitted kitchen and refitted bathroom. We've got this advertised with a price guide of £39,950 plus. Can I ask for 40,000? 40,000 anyway. How about 38? Without 38, I'm going to withdraw. 38,000? Any bid at 38? 38,000. Sorry. £38,000. Second row at 38,000. 39 anywhere else? Am I missing anyone else? £38,000. 39? 39,000 anywhere else? Sorry, the ladies bid at 39. 40. 41. 42. 43. 44. 45. 46. 47. 48, 49, 50, 51, 50,000 on the second row, 51. Gentleman's bid, second row of £50,000. Do I have 51 anywhere else? I'll take 500 for help. I'm selling on the second row at £50,000. 500? I'm going once at 50. It's your last chance. I'm going for the second time at £50,000. Sold, gentleman on the second row at £50,000.
That successful bid of £50,000 came from Glyn, who used to be a joiner. Something tells me he won't be calling on those particular skills on this one, or will he?
Glyn, good to meet you.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Tell me why you wanted to buy this place.
Bought it as a rental property, so I'm looking to expand into this area.
Right. Now, it sounds like it's something you've done before.
Yeah, I've been investing since 2002.
Right. And how's it gone?
Good, yeah. Yeah, no, on the whole, very good, and still actively purchasing.
Right. So how have you weathered the sort of storm of the last 10 years?
It's been fine. We've been able to keep on consistently adding to the portfolio and also now buy for other investors as well.
How many properties sort of you ended up with over the last 10 years?
Ourselves, we have 65.
Oh, wow. Great. Is it going okay? And tenants' problems or not?
Some, but on the whole, we wouldn't keep on adding to the portfolio if it wasn't working. We manage and do all the refurb and maintenance ourselves as well through a building company that I have. And word of mouth gets a lot of the tenants as well, that families recommend friends and family. So we've built quite a lot that way.
Sounds like Glyn has got this property lot pretty much sorted. As well as his own extensive portfolio, he sources, manages and maintains properties for other investors. So even if there's not much to do here, he will be keeping busy.
So is this particular property bought for you? Is your portfolio or for an investor?
No, it's for an investor who lives down south, so we've bought it for them. They haven't seen it, so I went to the auction on their behalf.
Is much pressure on your shoulders spending other people's money, or...?
What I say to my investors, I wouldn't buy a house for them that I wouldn't buy for ourselves, and I wouldn't put a tenant in that I wouldn't put in one of ours. So just because the first tenant who comes along who wants it, I wouldn't automatically take them just to be able to say I've got it rented out.
How do you sort of check the tenants and make sure they're going to be good?
We do referencing on them. If they're renting currently or in the past, we get references from previous landlords as well. So,
right. So what's the plan for this one?
We won't be doing very much to it at all. Obviously, the electrics will be checked, get a certificate, gas the same way, do some bits and pieces, do a makeover in the garden, and just to tidy it up, really, but rent it out as soon as possible.
Inside, any changes at all?
Probably not, very little.
Well, not even a lick of paint?
No, I find that quite often tenants like to do themselves, and they can put their own touch on it and make it home for themselves, so...
Right. So how soon will it be rented out?
Probably within 2 or 3 weeks of it being purchased.
Do you have any budget at all for doing anything?
No, not really.
Zero budget. And timescale of 2 to 3 weeks, you're not going to do anything anyway. How often does it work out like that?
Quite often, tenant demand is really strong. So we're getting calls all the time for people looking for properties. So,
and they're happy to move in pretty much whatever state and do it up to their liking?
No, if it needs things doing, you know, structurally, and obviously it's got to be safe. We do those things and do full refurbishments. But obviously this one, the bathroom's fairly new and the kitchen doesn't really need anything. So it just depends on what the house is like when we buy it. So.
And for you then, what's the future hold? More properties or?
More properties, yeah, and continue to build and buy and manage for other people as well. So.
Great. Well, it sounds like it's all going to be pretty straightforward. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Good luck with it. And look forward to seeing how you get on. Well, there you go. Another property to add to Glyn's management portfolio. Now, I know this property doesn't really need a lot of work doing to it, but I expected maybe a coat of paint. Possibly Glyn's right. Why not give the incoming tenant a chance to personalise it however they want? How will he get on? Well... It's not going to be too hard, really, is it? You can find out later in the show.
There are often tears and stress where buying property is concerned.
So have today's properties turned out to be living nightmares or had happy endings?
Let's find out. It was Dartford in Kent where I saw this 3-bedroom semi-detached house. I say 3 bedrooms, but actually only 2 of them were upstairs, while the 3rd was probably more suited to being a study. And with ageing decor, signs of damp and damaged plasterwork, this house had certainly seen better days. But with a good-sized garden and quite a decent amount of space inside, there was plenty of scope here to turn it into a pleasant place to live. Or, in the case of property developers Dolores and Terry, a home from home.
Why did you want to buy this house?
Our granddaughter lives 3 minutes walk from this very house, and her school is 5 minutes walk. We don't see much of her as we live in Spain, but so we thought we'd buy a house closer to our granddaughter, and the rest of the family are in the area. And what is going to happen now is that our sons will look after the house, and when we come back from Spain, not very often I might add, but we will stay here and she can come and see us.
They paid $190,000 at auction for the house. On their budget of $25,000, they were ready to swap sun and sangria for 3 months to prepare their new Dartford dwelling. Now, 12 weeks later, we're back. Well, the sun may not be shining, but the house is looking a whole lot brighter. It's been re-rendered, it's got new double glazing, and the garage has been replaced with a somewhat more substantial brick version. And with the garden landscaped and tidied up, it's certainly looking more like a place you'd want to come home to.
Basically, we've gutted the place from top to bottom, replastered, taken down ceilings, renewed the ceilings, everything. This house, from the inside, is like a new house.
So that great new crisp exterior now has an interior to match. A warm, inviting front reception room and a homely downstairs bedroom. While at the back of the house, there's a light, airy dining room that now leads into a rebuilt extension room, complete with patio doors onto the garden. And remember that somewhat dated kitchen? Well, now there's a fully fitted kitchen with all mod cons. By blocking up the other kitchen door and utilising the downstairs cloakroom, they've managed to create enough space for a downstairs shower room. Not bad, eh? What about upstairs?
The changes we've made to this floor are, this used to be a passageway which led to the family bathroom, shall we say, but now I've turned it into an ensuite and not a family bathroom. We've created another bath area downstairs for the rest of the house. This, in fact, is my favourite room of the project. I'm really, really pleased with it.
This is going to be Terry and Delora's UK pad, so the layout has been planned with that very much in mind. They made the master bedroom en suite, while the second upstairs bedroom is perfect as a guest room. All the changes were done in just 10 weeks. How on earth did they manage that?
Thrown a lot of money at it and a lot of labour.
Yes. And a lot of hard work.
And a lot of hard work.
And a great team.
Yeah, and a great team. We've had a really, really first-class team here.
The plan was to stay in the UK during the renovation work, keeping an eye on progress and getting involved. But with the weather being not exactly fabulous, were they tempted to sneak back to Spain at any point?
We've stayed here the whole 10 weeks.
It's better to be here on site when so much work has to be done. So if we had gone back to Spain, things might not have turned out as well as they have. So we're pleased that we stayed here for the duration.
Staying in the UK has certainly paid off as far as the timescale is concerned. But did it also help them keep to their £25,000 proposed budget?
Basically, we are 31,000 over budget. So that's life. I might add that I didn't do this as a project to make money. I've done it as a home.
Even so, that's quite an overspend and takes their renovation costs to $56,000. They bought the house for $195,000, so their total outlay is £251,000 before other expenses. Are they likely to get much return on their Dartford dwelling? What do 2 local estate agents think?
Looking from the outside, first of all, it hit me how nice it looks compared to how it was before. Changes they've made to the property, particularly the shower room downstairs, is very good, and having that extension room built into a proper structure is much more user-friendly.
Property's been refurbished to a good standard throughout, particularly like the kitchen. Choice of units is nice, being contemporary, which is what a lot of people are looking for when purchasing in the area.
It's undoubtedly an impressive change, and the house really does look great now. But having been slightly indulgent with the budget, will they see any return on their £251,000 outlay?
Property would resell for £230,000 to £245,000.
If we was to market the property under the current climate, we would suggest the marketing price of £235,000.
Those valuations would potentially see a £7,000 to £21,000 loss in the current market. What do they think of that?
So we're not too disappointed. Would have been nice if it was a bit higher, but at the end of the day, it's going to be our home and for the family's use. So it's neither here nor there.
Yes, their plan is just to keep it as a UK bolt hole. But if they did decide to let it, what kind of returns might they see?
I think this property would rent for between £950 and £995 per calendar month.
If we was to rent the property under the current climate, we would suggest an asking price of £1,000 per calendar month.
Rent of around £950 per calendar month would see an annual yield of around 4%, which is OK. But having spent 3 months back in not-so-balmy Britain, are they now tempted to stay?
We'll be going back to Spain.
Definitely back
Yes.
to Spain.
Yes.
We love the weather.
Yeah, we love the weather. It's been so cold here. We are looking forward very much to going home and getting stuck into all the chores we have to get back to.
And the new project.
And the new properties and everything.
Let's get set to return to the village of Shotton Colliery in County Durham, where I viewed this 3-bedroom semi. It had a guide price of £39,950 and was in a prime rental area. From the outside, all looked in good order. The windows were double glazed and there were no issues with the roof or guttering. What about inside? Well, that was all right too. The decoration was dated, but the kitchen was in fair shape. All it needed was a little sprucing up. The bathroom was downstairs, but moving it and losing a bedroom would have negatively affected both the sale value and rental income.
Which all leads to the conclusion that there really isn't a lot to do to this place.
In complete agreement with me was Glyn, an experienced developer with an extensive portfolio, who bought the property on behalf of a client for £50,000.
Inside, any changes at all?
Probably not, very little.
Well, not even a lick of paint?
No, I find that quite often tenants like to do themselves and they can put their own touch on it and make it home for themselves.
Right. Easy peasy then.
We're back after just 2 months to find out if it was indeed easy.
Yeah. Ooh, that's why I'm easy. That's why I'm easy. I'm easy like Sunday
This semi has been tidied up and let out. In less than a month, Glyn had a tenant in place and this investment property earning.
We advertised it and we've now got a tenant. He's moving his things in, so we're happy.
Apart from clearing out a little clutter, what exactly has Glyn done?
We've had a gas check done, we've had the electrical certificate done, so all the electrics have been tested. Had to move the one base unit across because an oven wouldn't fit in the gap that was left in between, and just done a quick tidy in the garden outside.
So far, so pleased. I like the way you touch me. I like the way you tease.
Glyn has every right to be pleased. The total spend is only a few £100s above £50,000, and with the property already let, it's proving to be a shrewd purchase. He clearly has a winning formula, not only running his own successful portfolio, but spreading his expertise by helping others. Of course, he will have further involvement with this property as a manager on their behalf. His investors must be very happy with this apparently trouble and stress-free investment. And it was a quick turnaround.
The investors are very happy, obviously now that we've got it rented out in a short space of time as well, so they're getting a return on their investment. And the investor is my brother and his wife. They live down south. They haven't seen the property still as yet, so one day they will get to see it when they come up.
Or maybe they'll just watch the show. we invited 2 local estate agents to give us their opinions on this property.
Well, as expected, there hasn't been a great deal of money spent on the property. The lesson for any potential purchaser of a property like this is that you can actually buy it, you can put a tenant in and hope for it, or maybe sell it and make some money on it.
At the end of the day, it's a typical example of being able to purchase a property, not spend any money at all, and place it back onto lettings market and receive a profit straight away.
Despite investing around £50,400 on the property, Glyn's investors are in this for the long term and have no intention of placing it on the market. But if they did, what might its current sale value be?
If I was to place the property on the market currently, I would recommend an asking price of £60,000.
If I was to place the property on the market, I'd be looking towards 55, or even at the push, 59,950 for the house. And I think you'll get some takers pretty quickly on that.
Those figures, if achieved, would give Glyn's investor a pre-tax profit of between £5,000 and £9,500 minus the usual expenses. The semi is, of course, currently being rented out, so let's find out how much the estate agents believe it's worth and if Glyn is achieving value for his client.
The rental market is still really buoyant at the moment, and with that in mind, I would recommend a rental valuation of between £450 to £500 per calendar month.
Well, in terms of rental value, I would suggest £495 per calendar month.
Over to you, Glyn.
We've actually rented this out for £470 a month.
Glyn's investors are getting a very healthy rental yield of just over 11%. Well done to them, and of course to Glyn for spotting a bargain. I'm sure they must all be very happy with the outcome.
Very pleased. It's given the investor a great rate of return on their investment. So yeah, no good.
This property is a prime example of the fact that not all renovations need involve ripping out kitchen units and knocking down walls to turn a profit. Sometimes it is as Glyn makes it look.
Well, that's all for today. We'll have more stories from the nation's auction rooms for you next time.
So join us then for more Homes Under the Hammer.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
A near-perfect day for Jack and Ronnie while it's Miss Teen Vic night in EastEnders at 7:30. Then Malik's struggling to come to terms with becoming a patient at Holby City. That's on the way at 8 o'clock. And at 9, DIY SOS gets the team together to help out a former paratrooper who feels trapped in his own home. Next, though, unbelievable footage on Real Rescues.